morning. Good morning to you. It's Bridget. I'm going to share with you my meditation this morning. It was about 16 minutes long or so. It was a guided meditation that I use to help me just connect with the grids in my body, the energy in my body, and just align it up. Just line it up. And I need that today because as we are in this phase of the year, it is November, it's the week of Thanksgiving week here in the United States. I am in definite certain need of allowing myself to release isn't the right word exactly, to allow myself to I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a clearing, but that's not exactly the right words. In fact, it will be suited better if I can read it to you, the process between now and the next full moon, which is on the 30th of November. As I'm recording this, it is the 24th of November. So I got about a week, and so it is normal for all of us to actually have some kind of clearing, which you, by the way, can tell if you need to release some stuff that you're hanging on to by if you're crabby. Are you crabby? Are you feeling extra stressed? Are people annoying you more than normal? In fact, have you texted friends and said, I hate people, I just hate them? Have you done that? Now, I'm not saying that that was me, but, maybe. I am human after all. So I'm going to read to you kind of using the description that came with my stave this morning. This is a stave. Remember, if you've been following me at all, you know that Celtic tree wisdom is something that I've been working with lately to help ground me. This is a stave. It's actually a stick, a piece of this particular tree, which is an elder tree. And if you work with like Celtic shamanism or anything like that, you would perhaps recognize that this pict, this little symbol that's etched into this stave, which is the stick of the tree, is representative of the oghams, which are the language, basically. And it's not just specifically for Celts, but that's the lineage or line that I connect to. And so this symbol actually means elder, and it stands for a letter of an alphabet. So you could use these like runes, like rune stones, if you're familiar with runes, to create a language, a message, for example. So for me, it's the tree that I feel that grounds me. It's such a great way to be psychic, let me just tell you, especially in this year, 2020. Oh yes, I love this. All right, so I have a whole set of these, and then I got the cards. I ordered, there's lots of different card decks you can get, but this particular card deck I really like. This was the first one that I went to. I actually looked at some reviews of card decks related to tree wisdom and connecting to oghams, which is a tree divination tool, like a reading tool, like a card reading kind of thing. And I wanted to have an understanding of what the tree looked like, and kind of like, these are like flashcards. See, there's the little pict, that's what it's called, P-I-C-T. And this connects with the tree, and it says the Celtic or Gaelic name of the tree and how it would be. And I don't know that language. So in English, it's elder. And so I connected. So I got one of my staves, drew my stave. That was what this was. And my little reading today, every day I've been drawing one and using it to ground me to my divinity within and to earth energy. I love earth so much right now. It's such appreciation time for earth, especially at the end of the year. She really grounds us, divine feminine energy of earth, and keeps us safe. And then I went and looked for the card. I looked for my card in the deck, and it comes from the deck that this is the Celtic Tree Oracle, which, by the way, this is just such a handy guidebook if you do get oghams. If you order oghams, you can make your own oghams, by the way, and you can just use like pieces of wood and like at the craft store. In fact, the reason why I know so much about oghams is from a YouTube site called The Truth and Story. And you can check out Kelly at The Truth and Story, and she does lots of great reviews on different kinds of decks, and she's an artist herself, and she just has a lot of, she's research based, and that she's has a lot of integrity, and I like her energy a lot. And she taught so much. She gave me so much information, free information. I'm like, okay, you should be charging a lot for this, because this is a lot of good info. And so this was one of the decks she reviewed, and I was drawn to this one. I thought, okay, I'm going to start with this one. So Celtic Tree Oracle. So I'm going to read to you a little bit about what the meaning is of this particular stave. And what, let's see if I can do this correctly. They give you like keywords in this particular deck. Keywords, they give you time of year connected to the Celtic wheel of the year or the turn of the year, if you follow the calendar year in that regard. They also do lunation cycles, so like the cycles of the moon, which they're like 13. Let me see, where's best, how best can I show this to you? Well, I can read it to you. How about I read it to you? Let's do that. All right, so the elder represents a threshold, a doorway that you are approaching. Sounds familiar. At the end of the year, we're trying to clear out some clutter. As you stand at the door, take the time to review your year and to honor it. And then it introduces a couple of Egyptian goddesses that can help with balancing and discernment, which is really a big word, isn't it? It's super important in my work, I know, discernment. So you can have a healthy sense of appreciation, let me say it that way, healthy sense of appreciation for what you actually have accomplished so far, and then call upon some of these goddesses. There's an Egyptian goddess, Maat, for balance and discernment, and Hecate she's the crone, for healthy composing of what no longer serves you. I love that. Healthy composing. It says composing, or wait. It actually says, composting, I think. I can't read it very well, the font. You guys, it is early and I don't have my glasses on and I'm trying to read this, so be kind to me. Healthy composing. I like the word composing better, like getting it all together so you can, in a healthy way throw it out. But composting sounds great too, doesn't it? To each his own. And then it says, let's see, let go of that which no longer is relevant. Oh, that was such a key word to me, relevant. And let's see, because the seeds of new hope and new potential will be cared for over the winter. Is the time to seek knowledge of ancient indigenous ways and to reconnect with your ancestry, which is exactly what I'm doing. The veil between the worlds is thin, which we all know. Hello right now. Oh my gosh. From the end of October through December, the veil is thin. What does that mean? Let's talk about that for a second. What does it mean that the veil is thin? It means that it's super easy to psychically connect. And it's super easy to get confused about your psychic connection. So be grounded. Tools like this, like going out into nature, like getting your stones and rocks and crystals, not your shiny ones that like help you to go to other worlds or realms, but your red jasper, your hematite, your rocks from your rock garden in your front yard that will totally work, or the rocks by the water that you like so much that are really soft that you gather at the beach or the lakeside, that will work. Grab some sticks when you're going on a walk. That's what I did, and I made an altar at the center of my kitchen table. I should show that to you, actually. It's not fancy, but it's very pure nature. Stay grounded during this time. It's really, really important. So when the veils are thin, it's important to know who you are, where you are. You are a human body. You are a human person. Your goal is to be human, not to escape human experiences by trying to be in spirit realm all the time, or trying to do meditations where you can leave and escape or astral project or leave your body. This is not the time to be astral projecting or leaving the body. I know it's tempting. I know it feels good to do that. You can do a journey or a meditation that will give you connection in the inner worlds within you, the worlds that you have access to within you. But if you are going to try to do that, don't leave your body to do it. It's a huge mistake. Don't do it. Don't do it. And so you can journey inside of yourself. You can do a meditation that goes inside of yourself and that releases you into this inner world of just mystery and magic and incredible access to your energy and your divinity within you. So if that sounds really confusing to you, but it sounds wonderful and yummy, then you might want to consider coaching with me in the new year, because this is the kind of stuff that I talk about with clients. We talk about things that are psychic and intuitive, and we always try to bring it back. We always bring it back into our human life experience. That's what the coaching part is about. It's about being able to have psychic conversations and make it applicable, understand how it is showing in your human life, this life here and now, in this human life, and how it is serving you now, what kind of messages psychically you're getting, so that you can improve upon your human life experiences. That's the goal, not to escape them, but to integrate the information, the knowledge, the wisdom, and to access it. You're supposed to access it so you can use it, so it makes life better. That's the point. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about my little journey this morning. So I did a meditation, and I used my elder tree, beautiful elder tree, and then my little guided music. I have music that I use. I know it's about 16 minutes long. It works well. Clearing my grids and aligning. And I didn't necessarily expect to go into kind of like a journey or travel someplace, but I did at the very end, which was lovely. I was only about 5 minutes maybe or so. It was nice. So when I was in the quiet space and just really feeling the energy in my body aligning, then I went up to an energy that felt like I was going up into my head. But what happened was I could see in my mind's eye a spirit guide, and it was Merlin. And Merlin has he shows up in many different ways. He can show up as Archangel Raziel. That's how I've seen him before. He's always purple to me when I see him. He's always got purple on. So he shows up as Archangel Raziel. He shows up as Melchizedek. Although Melchizedek doesn't have a lot of purple, he usually has a lot of blue, but he does have some purple, like a purple kind of hue when I see him. And trying to think of who else he shows up as. He's shown up as others too, but I can't recall off the top of my head. But he was definitely Merlin today, and I could see his face, and we were sitting on like a ride or something. Like I was sitting right next to him. I could see his side profile. I was like, whoa, okay. I was like, oh, hi. Because he's an alchemist, right? And he loves the forest energy. So he's one of the guides that I work with a lot when I am accepting my ability to transmute energy, to really change my current human situations, and acknowledging the power of change. Yeah, that's tough. That's what the discernment is about with this, right? When to make changes, what changes you want to make. And this was specifically related to my work, my business, and being a business. That's what's been in my face, is using my discernment about who I work with and how I work with people. And because I'm not for everybody, obviously. So I was sitting right next to him, and I said, oh, hi. I thought we were just going to stand, So I was using this kind of in my meditation experience as like a walking stick, like sitting next to him. And I kind of had this, my stave. And we were looking down. I said, well, what are we going to do? He said, well, where do you want to go? We can go anywhere you'd like. And I'm like, oh, I've been doing a lot of shaman journeys and connecting with the lower world, which is so lush and rich with trees and forest and ocean and just all sorts of awesome animals and stuff. It just feels so good, because being too people-y is tough for empaths, right? It gets to be too much. And I've been working a lot a lot, and I needed that kind of break time. So I'm like, oh, I want to do that. And so we did. We just like right away magically we're there, which was very cool. I thought, wow, this is nice. And we were in this edge of this forest, which is very familiar to me. And he's like, we're going to go in. He said, would you like to go in? I'm like, to the grove of trees. I'm like, thinking about it, going, I'm not sure. This is the first time I've actually had a guide with me when I've been in this place. So I'm like, yes, of course. Yes, let's do it. So we went into the forest, and as we were going in, I was like, part of my mind was thinking, don't get lost in here, because you could get lost in here. It's beautiful and thick and lush, and which way is which way, get turned around. And then he showed me this beautiful image of like a solar cross, which is like a circle with a cross in it, like a plus through it. And he said there are 4 ways out of the forest, 4 primary ways aligned with the directions. And then there is the center, which is you can go up, look up at the top, and you can get wherever there's light, you can go out through the light to come back into your body or whatever you're doing as a meditation, etc. Come back to your reality to wake up, to look for the light and come out. Or you can go down into the earth and just cuddle up and take a nap, and then when you wake up, you're reborn into your life. Your human life. So I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I didn't know that. Pretty sweet. And it was all yellow, by the way. It was highlighted with yellow or golden light energy, which yellow is solar plexus and spirit and purpose, which makes a lot of sense. And the whole compass format makes a lot of sense to me. That's how I do some of my forecasting work. I have a few clients that monthly I'll do audio forecasts. I'll record in an audio format, a forecast for the month ahead for them. And I use the compass and the medicine wheel to do that. And so the compass is just a real easy organization tool. So we were there and we went into the forest, and all of a sudden we were at this place, and it was there was a fire in the middle, a bonfire, which is gorgeous. And like all I noticed, I looked up and it was kind of darker in there. And I looked up and I could see in the fire's light, I could see the fairies. I could see fairies kind of flying around, and like butterflies and dragonflies. And I knew they were fairies. I couldn't tell if they were actually little people fairy. Like at first I was like, maybe it's just the animals. I'm like, no, they're fairies. For sure they're fairies, which is awesome. It's pretty awesome. I was like, oh, cool. But they're really high up. Like they weren't like right around by me. And I love the fire anyway, so I went in and just kind of sat by the fire, and Merlin was still with me. And then I noticed the animals. I should mention, he did say a few things to me before we walked into the forest, and about lineage and druids and clans and things like that. Just briefly, he mentioned that to me. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever, And he said they might not recognize you, or you might not remember them. I'm like, that's fine. I'm fine with that. Meet new people. Why not? Well, new energy beings. Okay. Okay. So I'm sitting in there and I'm like, wow, there's nobody here. And I thought, oh, well, maybe they don't know me, or it's not time for me to remember, or them to see me, whatever it may be, me to see them, whatever. And all of a sudden I noticed the animals. I noticed this beautiful red fox, which I saw yesterday, which came to me as a totem. And I know the red fox. I've worked with the red fox before for business. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I was having a tough business day yesterday. I was being very businessy, operations and billing and trying to get a vendor stuff and waiting for vendor stuff and, descriptions on merchandise, and just back and forth with people for crystal stuff. And it was just, it was stressful. I was like, geez. So the fox came to me, which was helpful because I had sessions to do and I didn't want to be all crabby in my session. So the red fox was there yesterday and she was here today. Then I saw what looked like a wolf, very clearly a wolf. And that was a little more masculine. And I was like, okay. And so I just looked, and the wolf, I could hear him talking. So I knew it was a shapeshifter, like, or I knew it was one of these energies, like a spirit guide that's going to turn into like a person like looking thing. Anyway, and which is fine because that's what this is all about, right? That's what, that's what walking in the world is about. That's what shamanism is about. That's what Merlin is about, alchemy. So you can take on many forms. So there you go. So he was like, kind of like, I can't remember exactly what he said, but I was like, okay, he wasn't sure of me. He was more skeptical of me, which is fine because I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm not super keen on looking at you either right now, mister, because I can feel your energy is all like judgy McJudgerson. And then, and then the red fox, though, appeared right after that and kind of off to my right, and she kind of turned right into a woman, a younger woman, like 20s, I'd say, maybe youthful, and her name was T something, T Tria or something, Taria, something like that, T something, Ti something, and she quickly was really accepting. She was like, oh, hello. She's like, hi, nice to see you. And I'm like, oh, hi. So she was very friendly and recognized me. And she said, oh, don't worry about Samos. He just, he just gets ornery. He's just protective. And I'm like, I could feel that his protection. And then I said to him, I said, I respect that. I understand and I respect that. I do respect that. I respect healthy boundaries, and I respect you taking care of the clan, kind of a thing. And he just kind of turned into a guy, a young man, and just was like, yeah, whatever. He just gets kind of standing there looking at me with his arms folded, like, okay, we'll see, time will tell, kind of a thing. Like, you have to build trust with Samos. So I'm fine with that. I'm okay with that. And then all of a sudden I saw this gorgeous deer, just beautiful deer, and she comes in from like almost straight in front of me and just beautiful. I'm like, oh, deer is like fertility and abundance and all this yummy energy that just feels good and positive and hopeful. And so she came in, and she was right away turned right into a goddess, and I ended up calling her Rain because that felt right, Rain, Rain, but her name was something R apostrophe, and then there was like an AIN. So a lot of people will call her something AIN or AION or AIANNN, something like that. And then, but there was an R also associated with it. So it was R apostrophe. So see, I'm using my clairvoyance because I'm in my meditation and I'm kind of hearing stuff, the name or the resonance, but I can't quite, it doesn't quite land for me. So I was just like, oh wow, and she was older. She was more of a matriarch, but she wasn't a crone. She was like a matriarch, and she was definitely a goddess, super goddess energy, very Celtic goddess energy, like wow, cool. And she was very accepting and warm, and she says, we have a goddess here, and she's like, it's Bridget, and the fox, Tia, she said, it's Bridget. And then, like, not recognizing that I was a goddess, right? Or that my name is the goddess name. And the other goddess recognized the goddess within me. And I thought, that is so beautiful. I'm like, that is so cool. I'm like, yes. I said, oh, thank you. I said, thank you. Then he said, oh, well, if she's a fire goddess, let's see what she can do with the fire. And he literally took like this walking stick that he had thing, and he kind of reached into the fire and kind of tossed a little fireball toward me. And I said, thank you. And I kind of held my hand out, and it hovered above my hand. I was like, thank you. And I just kind of held energy underneath it until it turned into a perfect circle or sphere. And then I breathed it into my body. Like I breathed it into my solar plexus, my spirit chakra, and I just breathed it in like a gift. I said, thank you. And I just, whatever. And he's like, alchemist. And so that's what and T said. She said, alchemist, see? I told you. It was funny. I was laughing. I was like, oh, thanks. And I recognized that all. And then right after that, this, I'm going to say he was elemental. His name was Ferdy, and not Fergie, but Ferdy. They showed it to me like Fergie, but they took the G out and put a D in. Ferdy. And he comes up to me and he was poking me like a gnome or something. He was like kind of poking at me a little bit. He's like, yep, yep, she's real. Yep, yep. Yep, I think she's an alchemist. And they're all like, yeah, we figured that out already. He's like poking at me, like my belly, like my side of my belly, like my solar plexus. It was so funny. I was like, okay. I'm like, yes. And he just kind of walked back out. He's like the keeper of the grove of the trees that it's there. So it's kind of like he's the keeper of that energy, and he tends to the fire. And I'm like, oh, thank you, you know. And so before I left, so I was about ready to leave, Merlin was still here. He's watching, and he's my ride home, you know. And I took a moment to gather up some things. I wanted to gift to them something or leave a part of myself here. So I reached up to my throat chakra and I grabbed what looked like a gorgeous, I wish I had it, a gorgeous, I have these stones, a heart-shaped rose quartz, and I have these rocks in my house. I have a bunch of them, a whole bag of them. They're kind of puffy, and I love them. They're sweet. I actually have them. I should just go grab it. It's in the kitchen, but I'll post it on Instagram. I'll post a picture of this heart-shaped rose quartz rock. And so I grabbed up toward my throat, and I had this like an amulet, and it was this heart-shaped rock that's pink. And I pulled it off the cord that was on my neck, and I set it on this rock right by the fire. And I held it there until it kind of burned in or like stuck there. And then I said, oh, my heart is here. My heart is here in this forest, in this place. And I'm like, but me, I said, but myself as a human, I am connected to amethyst also. So I'll bring in some amethyst. So all of a sudden I have these little amethyst chips in my hands, or like, I don't know if I reach into my pocket or what, but I have these little amethyst chips, and I kind of put them around and then held my hand over and kind of sealed them in there, because that's my birthstone. And I like amethyst. It's a very masculine but feminine stone, and this heart shape is super feminine, right? Very divine feminine. So it's a nice balance. So I wanted to leave that there, and I sealed it onto the stone like a ruin stone. And I told them, I looked up to them and I said, you can move this wherever you want to. You don't have to keep this here, but this is my marking of being here. And then I had that stave right in my hand, like I had been walking with it like a walking stick. I had this still. And so this tree, I had seen the card before I went into the meditation, has berries, elderberries, right? I'm like, oh, elderberries, cool, that's so cool. And so I gathered the elderberries and I put them in the front of the stone by the fire. I just set them in front of the stone kind of by the fire, and they kind of became one with the earth and the energy of the stone. And even though like berries like that would seem very soft or like poppable or like fragile, these didn't feel that way at all. They felt very much almost like stones themselves, just very like kind of like a moon shape almost underneath that. And then I thought, oh, I want to gift the energy of the cedars, the red cedars that are in my backyard over there that I talk about, my trees that I love so much. And so I magically, alchemically got some of those pine needles and the little edges of some of those small branches that had fallen, and set those, kind of sprinkled those in front of it, like honoring my lifetime now and my mystical spirit self. So I did that like a gift for them. It was like a little altar, and I was like saying thank you, and I was also bringing a part of me here. So I did that, and then I was ready to be gone. And I realized that all four of these energies that I met, from Ferdy to the red fox lady Tia, and to Rain, the goddess, the deer, and the wolf, Samos, I recognized that all parts of these four were aspects of me. So the critic, or the not so sure, not easily trusting part of me, the part of me that is the goddess, that fertility that is all about the abundance and the expansion and the opportunity and the hope, then the fox really willing to say, hey, okay, let's try this. Let's see what's up. Of course, this is so and so. I recognize you, willing to accept and ready to accept and wanting to be loving and connected and real pure connections with people and others, energies. And then Verdi, the one that's like fun and kind of playful, like, hey, yep, that's what she is. Yep, yep, she's definitely an alchemist. Alchemist. Yes. Like that part, the playful part, right? Like all parts of me. I thought it was so amazing. I was like, yes, I'll be back. And Sama says, yeah, I won't be surprised. That was it. And then breathed in and exhaled out, and we went up. And I arrived back like I would on a shaman journey to the place in my physical human yard that I arrived back to when I've had a visit in the upper world, actually, even though this looked like the lower world. And came back in front of those cedar trees and then walked into my house. And voila, here I am, sharing it with you. Isn't that cool? And I've done a lot of talking. This is a long video, but I hope you enjoy it. And it was super early in the morning, so this is about 7 a.m. So I haven't even taken a shower yet. Now it's time for that. I think I'm going to go for a walk, and then I'm going to shower and start my day. I have some sessions today and some work to do. So got my journal handy, my new journal. I'm going to share this with you. I will put the link to this in the below. There's a part, if you scroll through the descriptions on my videos, by the way, I put big stars and asterisks by the things that I highlight in my videos. I have a whole host of things, library of things you can look at there, but this is one of the journals that I have that I recommend to you, and I have links to it. This is the Heart of the Tree journal. I have links to it. There's 3 right there right now that are the same type of, from the same company, the same brand, and I love them all. And so I would encourage you. This is my brand new one. Look at all that water energy. Look at that kind of vibe of the willow tree. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty perfect for me right now where I'm at. Look at that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Oh, look, it is a heart. Huh, what do you know? I guess that's why it's called Heart of the Tree journal. What a gift for you or someone else. Look at that. It's got silver on the edges and it's got the cool bookmark thing. I love this. So journaled a little bit this morning when I got this card. It's kind of been my routine. So I hope you have a great day. I hope this helps to inspire your spirit. I love to share with you stories like this. I'm Bridget, as you know. Before you leave the Fairy Grasshopper channel, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an interesting and insightful video. And thanks for kind of being in the process with me this week as I am sorting and sifting and composing or composting, whatever the case may be, so that I can use my discernment for what is relevant and what is not any longer, especially related to my business. It's really about my business mind. I have such a hard time with my business mind, you guys. Business brain, yeah, I could separate it and just do business brain and not do spirit, but my business is spirit. My business is divine feminine, so I can't do that. It doesn't really suit me well, so, but it will hopefully empower, inspire, and help you very much overall. So thanks so much for being here and sharing my morning with me. I appreciate you. I do. I hope I've helped to inspire your spirit and fill you with some hope today, encouraging you to live your life. This is your life after all. You got to live it. So just live it. Thanks for watching.